Did your child ever ask you something that made you gasp? Hi guys, it's Mr. BSGB from Backseat Gutbusters with another great story from one of my passengers. This one is from a 40-year-old dad who had overheard his 14-year-old son Brandon talk to his friends on the phone about getting together at someone's house whose parents weren't going to be home. Each friend was to bring a bottle of liquor. One, a bottle of vodka. The second, a bottle of whiskey. The third, a bottle of rum. And then the fourth would bring some weed. He decided maybe this time is to talk to my son one-on-one about the whole subject. So later that day in the kitchen, Brandon and him were in one corner. His younger son, Tim, was at the table playing on an iPad one of his games. In the other corner was Mom, going through recipes and figuring out what to make for dinner. He talked to Brandon. He said, "Brandon, when I was your age, I experimented with hard liquor. A lot of times I overdid it, I regretted it, I either got sick or had a horrible hangover the next day. As far as pot goes, well, I didn't like the feeling. I felt out of control. But the bottom line with everything," and Brandon interrupted and said, "is moderation. Right, Dad?" "Yes, I'm glad you're saying that. You gotta watch what you do. You can't overdo anything. And as far as the booze goes, well, who had the bottles? Were they opened before? Were they tampered with? Can you trust that? And as far as pot goes, especially today, God knows what it's laced with, how it's made. It could be way too powerful." And Brandon said, "You're right, Dad. You gotta be careful about everything. You can't overdo it. Otherwise, you'll end up in a really bad place." Then Dad looked over at his son Tim and thought, well, did he hear any of this? Does he understand it? And he said, "Tim, if there's anything you heard that you don't understand, please ask questions now about this or about anything else." Tim looked up and said, "Well, there is one thing, Dad, I'd like to know." "Go ahead, ask. Did you ever have sex in Mom's ass?" Well, Dad nearly fell off his stool, jaw dropped, Mom turned purple, laughed, and ran out of the kitchen. And then he realized his sons know a lot more than he could ever have imagined. If you like that story, click below, and you'll hear a lot more from the Backseat Gutbusters.